Alright, very good morning, everybody. Today's class is basically a drill to solve 50 back to back verbal reasoning questions. Um, and before we begin with the questions, allow me to quickly introduce myself and the Unacademy portal. I am Prankur Arora. I'm going to be your instructor. I am a published author, a trainer, a coach. I hold advanced certifications in facilitation from an American organization, perhaps the largest in the world, called Leadership Management International. I co founded the startup by the name of Thought Sutra, so that's pretty much about me. This is the Unacademy CAT4MBA YouTube channel. Now, the idea here is that, you know what? We're conducting this class over YouTube, but similarly, we conduct daily live classes on the Unacademy platform as well. There's enablement for real time conversation between the educator and as well as the learners. You can engage in discussions, you can ask your questions. All the question answers there are conducted in the form of live polls, which is another adrenaline rush altogether, trust me. We regularly conduct tests and quizzes on the platform. The idea of these tests and quizzes, more than anything else, is to help you understand where you are versus where you want to be in your learning journey. You'll get data and insights into your performance, such as your topic wise scores or section wise scores, the time you're spending on every question, the time you're spending on a para jumbles question versus the time you're spending on a para summary question, stuff like that. All the courses on the platform are very much structured, very much in line with your exam syllabus to help you get the best of everything. And with one subscription, you'll get unlimited access to it all. you know Also, the next Unacademy combat is on Sunday, February 28th, uh, at 12 p.m. So don't forget, it's a free test that you can participate in. These are the various subscription models. You can clearly see as the time period of the subscription goes up, the cost of the subscription per month comes down dramatically. And if you use my name Prankur, you'll get an extra 10% off on any of the subscriptions that you go for. If you're preparing for 2021, I would really recommend what do you call it, say a 6 month journey, because see, understand that will give you the comfort of time to be able to do well in such exams, right? So yeah, there's that. A very good morning, Shruti. Let's start with the first question. D is the correct answer. Well done. Again, D. D is the correct answer. Also, tell me the correction that you recommend, once you've spotted the error. If members obviously are aware, if this is plural, then the verb needs to be plural as well. with others uh, who also use, right? Since others is plural, when assertion is used with the win-win approach, and with others who also use the win-win approach, right? Others is plural, so the verb needs to be plural. This verb is singular. Others who also use the win-win approach, each party can consider the needs of the other and move towards a solution that satisfies as many needs as possible. Yes. Hi, Yash. A is the correct answer. The flood of brilliant ideas has not only overwhelmed us but has also encouraged us to extend the last date for submission of entries. Yes. C. Okay. So for the first one, you're right. We go with the C. Sorry, yeah, the first one, noun. Here we are using it as a noun. He wanted some stills for a magazine. Stills means photographs, right? He wanted some. This is a common noun, right? No, Yash. Makes me still my, when you go with option B, it says that this still is a noun, but this is a verb. The good news, makes me still my fears. Still matlab makes me calm my fears, right? So this here still is being used as a verb. So 3 matches with C. Here it is being used as an adjective. Still waters, you're describing how the waters are, right? And then you go with the adverb, well, you still love me. So this is being used as love here being is being used as a verb. This still is basically describing the verb, so it is an adverb, adverbial component. So Shruti got this right, marking option C for this one. Next question. Option 3. Okay. What do you make of this, Yash? Okay, Yash says option 2. Alright. So, see, understand that in the very first sentence, when I'm talking about the street and the house, I am talking about in a very vague sense. I live in a house in a street. Then I'm talking about the street in a specific manner, that the street is called Bear Street and the house is old, more than 100 years old. So option 1 is the correct answer. Why? Because in the first sentence I am very vague about the house and the street. I'm not really specifying which one. The is used to specify everything, right? The is used to specify it. So the street is called Bear Street and the house is old, more than 100 years old. A house and a street in the very first sentence, because we're not specifying there. So the answer is option 1. That's all right. Just remember that whenever you are being vague, you're being very general. Then you use articles a and an. But when you're being specific, that is when you use article the. Okay. Next question. Okay, Ash says B. Okay. Vishruti says C. Okay. The answer is in fact The answer is in fact C. The teachers will be able to visit our schools and compare our teaching methods with their own. Understand Yash? B में क्या कह रहे हो आप? The teachers will be able to visit us, will be able to pay a visit to our schools and compare teaching methods for their own. क्यों? Compare compare with होता है, right? You always compare two things, right? So they are comparing our teaching methods with their own or to their own, right? Comparison में either we use with or we use to. ठीक है, and there are always two components that you're comparing, minimum two components, right? So there, the answer is in fact C. Shruti got this right. Well done. Next question. All right. You're saying option A. Okay. A or B. All right. B is the answer. You crash into the truck, not crash with the truck, crashed into the truck. Is a parajumbles question. D. All right. All right, Shruti, I don't have your submission, so I'll discuss it. I think Yash has gotten it right. We begin with C. It is no longer thought that intelligence is a general quality underlying all behavior and inherited wholly from our parents. Then we move on to B. That intelligence is improved by learning. So you basically laid down the context with sentence C, and then you went to B to talk about how intelligence is improved, how it is not an inherent quality. Then you go to A, that some people are born with great possibilities or potential intelligence. However, this potential, what potential are we talking about? The potential that is mentioned in sentence A. So CBAD is the perfect answer in that regard. Well done. Next question. 1324. Okay. Yes, can we open the paragraph with a sentence that carries a pronoun? What is the reference to the pronoun? What is the reference to the pronoun? You have to have a reference to it, right? 'So here, what I'm trying to get at is that sentence 1 will come after sentence 2. I don't know whether immediately after or not, but that is something for us to figure out. Asim says 3214. As the crops began to give better yields, this reduced his need. Again, you have a pronoun coming first before mentioning what is the reference to his. What is the referent? What is his referring to? So we'll open with sentence 2. The hunter gatherer went from place to place in search of food. Then we go to 4. This was followed by an attempt to grow food by scattering the spare grains. Then we go to 1. He just harvested the wild grains. And then we go to 3. That as the crops began to give better yields, this reduced his need to go in search of animals and wild plants. Always remember that you open the sentence with a noun, a common noun. Yeah. Pronouns always come in later because pronouns need a reference. Chalo, let's look at the next question. Yeah. 3412. Okay. Alright. What do you make of it, Asim? 3214. I agree with Asim here. The answer is in fact 3214. Why? Because understand Shruti and Yash, that you open with 3 yes. Life in a rural Kashmiri village seems idyllic. So first you are saying that life in Kashmir is ideal, right? Then you want to draw a contrast that this is why it is not ideal, this is why it is not ideal, and then you reinforce that point with moreover. That moreover, the ever present political disruptions mean that life is far from a Shangri La utopia. So, Shangri La utopia is also an ideal state, right? Shangri La is basically a five-star hotel, right? Shangri La utopia is an ideal state. So, you begin the sentence, you begin the paragraph by talking about how life is ideal there, right? Then you cannot reinforce the point that moreover political disruptions mean that life is far from ideal. First you have to explain why it is not ideal, and only then will you reinforce the same point using the word moreover, right? So 3214 is in fact the perfect answer for this one. Hope you've understood this. Let's move on to the next question now. You have to eliminate, you have to figure out the odd one out. Sentence elimination is basically figure out the odd one out. All right. See, understand, Yash, that Asim says B. Okay. So, sentence A says consumers prefer reliability when it's available, and giving the state's imprimatur to legalize gambling goes a long way towards ensuring that. So, imprimatur means state's approval, right? So, this is for gambling, right? B says legalizing gambling would only ramp up incentive to find new ways to fix games. This is against gambling. C says in Britain, betting shops were legalized in 1961, and giant gambling companies like William Hill and Ladbrokes watch out for suspiciously prescient bets. This is also for gambling. D says taking gambling into the light makes the marketplace more hostile to cheaters. This is also for gambling, right? So this is what they've done with apps like MPL and Dream 11, right? With apps like MPL, Dream 11, they've basically taken gambling into the light. Now everybody is gambling, right? The entire country is gambling now. So you don't have. So basically, it reduces the probability for cheaters. It reduces the probability for match fixing when you have big organizations such as MPL and Dream 11 making sure that everybody in the godforsaken world starts gambling and starts betting money, right? So the answer is in fact option B, because the it's the only statement that is against gambling. All the others are for gambling. Chalo, next question. Okay, Shruti says D. All right. Okay. Asim says A. Alright. Okay, I'll wait another 30 seconds for Yash to submit his answer, otherwise, we'll discuss it. Alright. So, Shruti, I think Asim has gotten this one right. Look at D, no? What you will quickly discover is that it can't be ordered about. What is it referring to here? It is a pronoun, right? It is a pronoun. That means it has to have a reference. Are we able to figure out the reference? Let's look at the other sentences. Once you admit that your unconscious mind is the source of whatever brilliance you possess, you can take steps to extract the maximum possible benefit from your association with it. It here refers to the unconscious mind. What you must instead do is interest your unconscious mind in working on a problem by working on it with your conscious mind. So I think the paragraph will be B D C. This is a paragraph. Once you admit that your unconscious mind is the source of whatever brilliance you possess, you can take steps to extract the maximum possible benefit from your association with it. What you will quickly discover is that it can't be ordered about, right? So now you have a contrasting sentiment. What you must instead do, why you must do something which is basically using the word instead, because you quickly discovered that your mind cannot be ordered about. So what you must instead do is interest your unconscious mind in working on a problem by working on it with your conscious mind, right? So BDC becomes a very nice paragraph. A is the odd one out, because when you look at A, you will know that it has, you will know that what has, you will know that what has. There is no sense to it when it comes to the rest of the sentences, because you will start experiencing aha moment with respect to that problem. What problem are we talking about? Right? So it has no relation with the other sentences. So A is the odd one out in this regard. Next question. Asim says D. Alright. Shruti, dispensed. Okay. So dispensed is a verb essentially, which means that to dispense something means to distribute something. So dispense to doctors means that it was distributed to doctors. The answer is in fact D. The both of you have gotten it right. Well done. Next question. But it is hard to kick out C for me as well. Okay, I'll go to C then first. The leaves of the bora can are used in a number of medical products. Right now, here the idea is it follows, therefore, that continued production of the drug must inevitably lead to Ebora's extinction. Right? When you say that the leaves of Ebora are used in a number of medical products, that means that you are already using its bark elsewhere. Right? You are already using its bark elsewhere, and if you start using leaves as well, doesn't it mean that, you know what, I am using the bark of an already rare tree, now I'll start using its leaves as well. So the demand for the tree is only going to go up. If the demand is going to go up, right, you're going to keep cutting the tree. And if you're going to keep cutting a rare tree, then it will eventually become extinct, right? Alright. C and E. Okay. Now let's figure out the mathematical equation here. Alright. Kale has more nutritional value than spinach. So K is greater than S. Since colored greens have more nutritional value than lettuce, C is greater than L. It follows that kale has more nutritional value than lettuce. So you have relationship between these two and you have a relationship between these two. And you are concluding about a relationship between K and L. Kale has more nutritional value than lettuce. So for this relationship to be established, to be able to establish a relationship between K and L, you either have to establish a relationship with SNC or KFC or directly K and L, right? Any of the following, if introduced into the argument, makes the argument above logically correct except. So you have to figure out one which does not really make sure that kale is greater than lettuce. So E says kale and collard greens have the same nutritional value. So look at the equation. K is greater than S, C is greater than L. This is telling me K is equal to C. If K is equal to C, so obviously K will be greater than L as well because C is greater than L. So this stands true. Spinach and collard greens have the same nutritional value. S is equal to C. C is greater than L. If S is equal to C, that means K is greater than C. If K is greater than C, it follows logically that K is greater than L as well. So even this is true. C tells me, Shruti, that spinach has more nutritional value than collard greens. S is greater than C. C is greater than L, and if S is greater than C, then S is greater than L as well. And if K is greater than S, so obviously it logically follows that K will be greater than L also. So C is also true. B says spinach has more nutritional value than lettuce. Spinach has more nutritional value than lettuce. K is greater than S, S is greater than L, so obviously K will be greater than L as well. So this is also true. The only one which does not really stand true is A. Colored greens have more nutritional value than L. Sorry, K. Right? Colored greens have more nutritional value than kale. We have K is greater than S, C is greater than L, and C is greater than K. If C is greater than L and C is greater than K, it is telling me nothing about the relationship between L and K, right? It is nothing. If it is not telling me about L and K, then how will I conclude this? So if A is added to the premise, my argument is not logically correct because I'm not able to reasonably conclude that K will be greater than L, given that C is greater than L and C is greater than K also. Have you understood this? I went through it quickly, rather quickly, so let me know if you've not understood it. But it was rather simple if you broke it down into these mathematical equations. क्या श्रुति नहीं समझ आया? It's too hard, sir. नहीं समझ आया. Okay, should I try to explain it again? Let me try to explain it again, and this time I'll go slow. Alright. Much time? No, not a lot of time is needed, right? As I did it in front of you, you just had to break it down into these mathematical equations. This is what you are given as premise. These two relationships you are given. अब आपको K और L में relationship establish करना है. तो logically speaking, K और L में relationship establish करने के लिए आपको या तो आपको basically इधर से एक component और इधर से एक component, इन दोनों की relationship establish करनी जरूरी है. ठीक है. Next question. So, see, the video is on YouTube. Try to solve this question once more, you know, later in the day or tomorrow. And if you're still not able to get it, then I'll, explain it once more. All right. Asim has gotten it. So Asim says D, Shruti says C. Look at the correlative that is being used here, right? From after suffering $2 billion in losses and 25,000 layoffs, the nation's semiconductor industry, which makes chips that run everything from X, computers and spy satellites, to Y. This is how we use the preposition from when we are structuring the correlative from X to Y. तो यहाँ पे as well as नहीं आएगा, यहाँ पे and भी नहीं आएगा, we need to, right? So we'll eliminate options B and C there because यहाँ पे the correlative is from X to Y. So from computers and spy satellites to dishwashers appears that it has a better है Asim, a more direct and more concise way to structure it is appears to have. After suffering $2 billion, the nation's semiconductor industry appears to have made a long awaited recovery. Mm-hmm. Will you guys be able to attend the class at 3 o'clock today? If I were to continue the session at 3 o'clock, will you guys be available? You may try. Okay. So we'll solve a few more questions, then I'll wrap up the class and continue it at 3 o'clock. Do try, Asim. So, Shruti, is the main idea the fact that it has no famine, or the main idea is the reasoning that they're giving for it? Premise में था that it does not have famine. वो तो first line है, but is that the main idea? The main idea is the reasoning behind it, right? The answer is in fact D. Well done, Meher. Well done, Asim. The answer is D. That famine in the Horn of Africa is not only due to overpopulation, but more importantly, due to lack of government assistance and political insecurity. Okay, next question. This is the right answer. Neither the king nor his ministers desire war. Okay, Meher says D. Alright. And Shruti says A. Okay. See, you have to support the argument, right? The premise is wood smoke causes changes in human cells, and because wood smoke presents high health risk, we need legislation to regulate the use of open air fires and wood burning stoves. Now, they are saying within the jurisdiction covered by the proposed legislation, most heating and cooking is done with oil or natural gas. So, instead of strengthening, won't it weaken the argument? A will weaken the argument, right? Because the legislation is about wood smoke. और तुम कह रहे हो कि यार wood तो हम use ही नहीं करते, we use cooking oil or we use natural gas. We are not using wood to generate heat and electricity at all, right? So A, instead of strengthening, is weakening the argument. Meher has gotten it right that in valleys where wood is used as primary fuel, the concentration of smoke results in poor air quality. So D is the correct answer in that regard. Let's look at the next question. Shruti says D. Okay. Okay. So understand that this particular question is a comparison question, right? And whenever we are comparing two things, we need to make sure that they are similar in nature, right? So if you say, unlike the buildings of Mesopotamian cities, the same basic plan. So here you're comparing plan with buildings, which does not make sense. Unlike the buildings in Mesopotamian cities, the same basic plan, again, you're comparing plan with buildings, does not make sense. Unlike the arrangement of buildings, the cities. Here you're comparing cities with arrangement of buildings, does not make sense. When you look at D, D says, unlike Mesopotamian cities, in which buildings were arranged haphazardly, the cities of Indus Valley. So cities and cities are being compared here, so that makes the perfect amount of sense when it comes to a comparison. Both have the same nature, right? So good job, Asim. Good job, Shruti. Next question. Okay, we have D and D again. See, again, understand that the correlative that you're using here for comparison is more x than y, right? So make sure that the x and the y component are similar in construction. Try again, Shruti and Meher. D is incorrect. D is incorrect. Try again. Look at the construction of your x and y components. What is following more and what is following than? E is incorrect as well. Look at this, no? यहाँ पे the preposition is more a tool to manipulate people's perceptions rather than fulfilling. More to manipulate people's perceptions rather than for fulfilling. The prepositions are not uniform. More to manipulate people's perceptions rather than it fulfills, incorrect. More for manipulating people's perceptions than for fulfilling a real military need, this is uniform. So check for parallelism, right? This is also incorrect. So B is the correct answer because it is parallel. The construction is parallel. The verb form is parallel. Fulfilling, manipulating, for manipulating. It is parallel, right? So B is the answer. This is an argument evaluation question. Shruti says B. Alright. B or E. Okay. E maybe. Okay. Alright. So the answer is in fact E. Shruti, the answer will not be B, because when you look at B, option B tells me that the average time scientists must wait for access to a particle accelerator has declined over the last several years. So if the average time has declined, if the average time has declined, it would seem to promote more articles about accelerator research being written and published, not fewer. Right? So this is incorrect in that regard. Uh, A says every article based on experiments with particle accelerators that was submitted for publication last year actually was published. See, this statement, Asim, it rules out the possibility that submitted articles were not published, and eliminating this alternate explanation tends to support the argument instead of weakening it. ठीक है? We had to weaken the argument. E is in fact the perfect answer. Meher, why are you not visible on this slide? Because uh, sometimes the software that we use, the OBS setup that we use, sometimes it just does not take my visual capture. I don't know what happens. And instead of delaying the class, then I'm like कि ठीक है class कर लेते हैं, even if my face is not visible. ठीक है, I hope you've understood this. So with this, I'll wrap up the class for now, and I'll continue this class at 3 o'clock today, guys. So do try to tune in at 3 o'clock. I'll see you then, hopefully. ठीक है? And thank you so much for sticking by the entire while. It's been almost 1 hour 20 minutes now. So thank you so much for sticking. सर मिक्सचर हैं जसप्रीत और युजवेंद्र चहल के. All right, I've got another cricket fanatic taking my class. This is joyful. Good day to you as well. Good day to you as well. See you guys at 3 o'clock.